Welcome to the session reporting in Project Client on the Project Virtual Conference 2015. This session was prepared and held by two European project MVPs, Torben Blankertz and B005. First of all, thanks to our sponsors and also to the organization team who made this event happen. Thank you. Torben Blankertz is located in Germany, and B005 is located in Austria, mainly working in German-speaking countries. Both of them have a lot of experience with implementations of project server, trainings also on Project Client, and working with cloud solutions like Project Online. What is the agenda of today? Today we will focus on possibilities you have to create reports and prepare information for status updates with the tool Project Client only. First we will have a look at the timeline, available since version 2010. Then we have a look at graphical indicators in the Gantt chart, available in all versions of Project, how to highlight bars based on specific properties of a task, also available in all versions. We will see the visual reports, available since version 27. And last but not least, we will create a dashboard, a feature available since version 2010. First of all, let's have a look at the timeline. In this case, we see here a timeline including all milestones and the summary tasks of these milestones. How do you prepare that and what can you do with it? Let's have a look. To create a timeline like that, the easiest way is just to go to the View tab and select the filter Milestones. In this case, we only see milestones now with their summary task. I select all of them. You see that I don't select the first line, but in my case the first line has the number 0, so it's the project summary task, giving a summary of the whole project. The summary task can be disabled or enabled using the Format tab and selecting or deselecting the checkbox Project Summary Task. But we go back to View now, and I use the right mouse to open the context menu and select here Add to Timeline. And you see all the selected tasks are now added to the timeline like you saw in the screenshot before. Here are two vertical lines. The vertical lines give you possibility to zoom your project. You see if I'm moving the green bar, then the Gantt chart part is zoomed in or out appropriately. In the timeline you have a lot of possibilities of configuration. So first of all, we can, for example, choose a different date format. The date format of my project is weekday and then the date, and now I just want to have the week date without a year, and so I can select this format. Moreover, I can choose different background colors for projects. So if I right click on a task, on a bar, in the context menu I can choose a different background color. Moreover, I can also choose a different font color. I can also choose a different font. Let's take Arial. And I can also drag out some of the milestones to get more attention on them. When I'm done with all my formatting and it looks nice, I can export this timeline to other tools. Therefore, I use in the tab format the copy timeline, and I can select if I want to use it for email, for presentation, or the full size. I'm now using for presentation and put it into a new clean presentation. It's not just a bitmap, but you can still modify it here. Please keep in mind, whenever you change anything here, it will not be reflected back to your project, so keep that in mind, that you perhaps create discrepancies in your report from the project plan. Next, how to create graphical indicators. Graphical indicators can be based on formulas, so you take properties of a task and do some calculation to show a yes or a no, or a green light or a red light. We will here have just a short sample based on baseline costs. I'm sorry. Back to the project. First of all, I want to hide my timeline, so I go to the tab View and hide my timeline. Then I will delete or hide my filter just by selecting No Filter as filter to see all tasks again. To create a formula I can use as an indicator, I go to the tab Project and the Custom Fields, and I create a formula here. I want to create a formula if there's no baseline. I want to display no baseline costs, and if there is a baseline, I want to display or get the information of the baseline cost. So I use the function general if, and the expression I need to use to see if a baseline was saved for a specific task. I go to the field selector and to the date, and I use here baseline start date and add it here. So, and now I can put in is NA. NA is true for the English version of project. If I send that now to a colleague with e.g. a German version installed, then this formula will not work. So if you are working in a multi-language company, I suggest to use a value which is language independent, even if it is quite difficult to remember. So that's the value for NA, not applicable in English, NV for nicht verfügbar in German, and also the similar values in French or any other language. So if baseline start is not set, then we also have no baseline costs. If a baseline is set, we have baseline cost, and we can select from all fields the cost, and I want to have the baseline cost and have here the baseline cost. Okay. I get a warning that all data which I've entered previously into the field text 1 will be deleted now because it's now calculated by the formula. So it's fine in this case. I'm going to rename it to baseline cost indicator. And I define that I want to use the formula also for summary tasks. But we are doing this formula just to create graphical indicators, so I have to click on the button Graphical Indicators and get an equation. If the value is no baseline cost, then I want to show a big red cross. If I want to show the same indicator also for summary tasks, I just tell that I want to use the same criteria. So it will remove previously entered criteria. There hadn't been one, so I click on yes, and I can do the same for the project summary task. So, and now I'm done, and I can enter with insert column the baseline cost indicator. Okay, I can't see anything, but when I use the mouse over, I can see the value of the baseline cost, because that was what I defined. If there is a baseline cost, show it using the mouse over, which is the default setting, show the data values in tooltip. And if I scroll down, I can see that there are a lot of tasks without baseline, so no baselines cost defined, and the project manager can put his attention on them. That had been the graphical indicators, so can use them for most of the purposes. Now we want to highlight the bars. We have just added here a column with some indicators. Now we want to have in the Gantt bar some difference if a baseline was created or not. Therefore we have again to create a new field. This time we need to use a flag field. Only flag fields can have an influence how to display a Gantt bar. Again we use the formula, and we go again to our baseline start. If it is equal this value, again the warning that all previously entered values will be deleted. I can rename it no baseline, but it's not that important in this case, and just as most of the time I use the formula for the summary tasks. So we could add it here, but mainly we want to see different bars in this part when there's no baseline. Therefore we need to go to the Format tab. Under Format, Bar Styles, I can define a new bar style. So task is the standard, and I want to insert a row here, a task without baseline. I want to use the same specification as for a normal task, but in addition, if there is no baseline, so if flag 1 is true, I want to have a different appearance. So I use a different pattern and set a color, and I click OK. And now when I'm scrolling down, I can see that tasks without baseline are displayed in a different way. This formatting will be kept in exactly this view, and if you want to save it for yourself without being able to, so if you don't like it, you can reset it to default, or you can save the view as an own name. Bar Gantt chart baseline. Okay. What else can we do to get a quick overview about our project? We have now highlighted the bars. Okay, the visual reports will give us a summary of our projects. We go back to our project. On the tab Report, we will find the visual reports. in Project 2010 these visual reports are available under the tab Project. So we click on Visual Reports. I select the baseline costs, and I only want to see it on the monthly level, and I click on View. Here we can see our baseline cost, the cost and the actual cost for each summary tasks, but that's not what I'm really interested in. I want to see it by month. So I go to the table sheet and I remove the tasks and add instead the monthly calendar, but I don't want to have it in the columns but in the rows. So I see it here. Go back to my chart. Okay, the data is now displayed on the yearly level. The reason is that this is not expanded so far. When I expand it, then I can see my baseline cost, my cost and my actual cost per month. Last but not least, we will create a dashboard, which takes a bit more time to do. We go back to our project, and this dashboard shall include the milestones grouped by month. So first of all, dashboards use filters and grouping settings from the project. So we need to create here our new group by. I call it by month. I use the start date, and I want to define it to see it per month, so not each value but grouped by the month, and starting always with the first of a month. Click OK. I could also select the summary tasks and maintain the hierarchy, but I don't want to do that in this case. So I click just on Apply, which does happen immediately. You can see I have now here the task for September, for October, and so on. But this is all only a preparation for our dashboard. So now we go to Report and create a new report. I want to create a new blank report, and the report name is Cost and Milestone Summary Report. Okay, and it's already displayed here. To have it a bit in the color of project, I'm just changing the color here. Okay. And on paragraph, I move it to the left because I want to add the project name there. Put it here as my headline, and I want to add the project name at this place. For that I create a table. I choose from the table space the nothing, because I don't want to see any borders. I remove the header row. I remove all fields except of the name. I change the font color. and move it here. So I need to check the font. It's 18. Okay, so I switch it here to 18. Okay, so align it. Oops. Okay, that was the first part. An additional table, because we wanted to have a look at the milestones. Again, I want to have it in a nice project design. Name, start and finish for the tasks is fine to me. I don't want to see all tasks, I only want to see the milestones, and I want to have them grouped by my months. And I'm still missing some information because of the outline level is set to level 1, but I want to see all subtasks at the moment, and I don't want to see the hierarchy. If you look there, you have a list of all milestones with their period. So let's change the font again and take 10. Okay. So next, let's add a chart with the cost overview about the project. Therefore, we click on chart and use a combo chart and just add it. And first of all, we need to select a different category, so we are not interested in the names but in the time. And when using the time, first let's remove the work fields because we want to have a cost overview. And on the costs, with time selected, I can find the cumulative costs, and moreover, next we want to have the costs by resource. Therefore, we use the bar child and use the stacked bar. Okay. You see here currently the summary tasks. So we want to see the resources. I need to change in the field list to the resource. Just move it and go to the chart styles and change to color green. And we don't want to see the work and the actual work and the remaining work, so we want to see the actual cost and the remaining cost, actual cost and the remaining cost. And we move it down to have enough space there, a bit smaller, that's enough for the resources. And move this down, so okay. And last but not least, we need some additional information about the project. We can't just add a single field like project start date, so therefore we have to create a table. We want to see any borders later on, so we select in table styles the table with nothing. Let's move it somewhere where we can see what we are doing. Remove the header rows, and we remove all fields except the start date. We change the font again to have it green, and we copy this with Ctrl C Ctrl V, and in the second field we add the finish date, and afterwards we remove the start date. And then we need 2 more text boxes. To label it. Oops. So we go to design and add a text box. Project start and project finish. Change the font. Size is 14. Okay. Move it and set the start date behind the start date and the finish date behind the finish date. So we have a nice report. To get a nice printing, we go to the File tab and Print and Page Setup. On the left we indicate when the project was saved for the last time, and we find this under the general setting as last saved at. On the right we indicate when it was printed. That's the system date. Add. And in the center we enter one empty line and the project, the file name. Add. Okay. And moreover, we define here in the page setup on the page that it shall fit to one page. Okay. So now we can see our whole project. Here we forgot to remove the border. We don't want to have any line. Okay. Now it looks nice. Print and look at the preview. Yeah, that's nice now. And if we like this report, we can just move it to our global MPT. So that's the file with which saves all settings of your project client of the local machine for reusage. We have here now our newly created plan, and in the project we have currently open, and here in the global MPT we have all settings. And if I copy it there, this report is available for all projects. So if I now just look for a different plan somewhere, in the internet, and then I can go to report and to custom, and here I find my custom and summary report. Okay. So the report is working, however the information in this project doesn't fit to the report we have just designed. So I hope that was interesting for you and give you an idea what you can do on your own. Just investigate what possibilities you have to create your own report and to give an overview about the status. Thanks a lot for your attention, and bye from Torben and Barbara.